Transitions make transformations come to life. They allow them to be animated with a variety of special effects. Without transitions, transformations are boring and static. It's like eating bread without butter. In this section, we'll take a look at CSS transitions and see how to take our transformations to the next level. All right, for this lesson, I have a simple image, and it's wrapped around a div, and I've instituted a class of photo here so that I can target it for transformations and transitions. So the first thing we'll do is we'll change the opacity of the image at its beginning point to 50%. So it's going to be 50% opaque when it first starts. And we're going to create a separate element that's going to trigger the transition. This element is going to be a hover. Hover just means that you're going to roll over the image. So when we hover over this image, I want something to happen to the image. In this case, we're going to change the opacity to 1. So when we hover this image, it's going to be completely opaque. We can add a few transformations as well to this image. So we can add a WebKit transform and add a rotation as well as a scale. And when we roll over the image scales and also rotates. Let's just rotate it a little less. Hover is not necessarily the best thing to use for iOS devices, since you really can't hover over with your finger on top of an image. But it's an easy way to explain these transitions, so we're going to use them for right now. Now, this transition happens immediately, so it's a little bit boring to just have the image rotate and scale immediately. So we're going to add a transition effect to this hover. Transitions take 3 parameters. The first parameter is what you want to transition. We can specify just transitioning the opacity, just the scale of the object, or everything. Since we've got more than one transformation happening, we're going to use the keyword all here. The second thing is how long you want the transformation or the transition to take. We can specify this in seconds or milliseconds. Since most of our transformations are going to be short, we're going to use milliseconds. Finally, we need to specify a transformation or transition curve, and we'll use the keyword ease in, and that will show the transformation more smoothly. Now we can use the keyword ease in, ease out, or ease in -out. It's a little bit difficult to figure out what easing in and out means, so I like to replace the word ease with slow and the word in with beginning and the word out with end. So an ease in transition is slow at the beginning. An ease out transition would be slow at the end. That makes it a little bit easier to remember what they are. So an ease in transition will be a little slower at the beginning and then speed up towards the end. An ease out transition would slow towards the end. And an ease in and out transition would, of course, do it both ways. You can play around with the milliseconds. That'll make the transition a little bit faster. Now, I don't like that when I mouse out, the transformation happens immediately again. So what we could do is, instead of putting the transition in the hover state, we can actually take this transition and put it in the image itself. That way, the transition will happen both when we roll over the object and when we roll out of the object. Transitions allow you to animate your transformations and bring them to life. They're easy to do and have a very simple syntax, and you can play around with them to get different effects.